It's recording.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. I open it there.
Oh, I see.
So it's the 33 Master Day, 16th September at 2:51 p.m. You've got no idea what we did last night. You felt incredibly powerful. I can't remember any of it. Can you?
Hmm.
Oh,
With the series, a lot of it was with the series, and you were like the 5D and the 3D at the same time.
yes.
Um, like the base human stories happening at the same time, the collective missions happening. And Crucible came up a few minutes ago. You picked up on that.
Crucible. Do you remember what it said about Crucible?
Yeah. There's two versions. One's literal and one's metaphoric. The literal is like a pot or a cauldron where you heat up and burn metals and purify them. And then the metaphor, they have a lot of different symbology, but it's basically purification, cleansing. There was another
And
definition.
readiness to transform into something else.
That was it. Yeah, that was the part I left out. Essentially, transformation.
Okay, thank you for that because I couldn't understand what they were saying to me beforehand. I couldn't relate it to anything, which is really weird myself. But they were showing me like there's some really big flipping going on for many people at the moment. You know, in peace and joy and serenity one moment, and you know, almost from nothing, a flipping into the extreme opposite. And I didn't fully understand that they were saying, well, how do you feel when you go into that? You know, the total opposite of serene and peaceful and calm, content. Um, Feeling alive, feeling flow, balanced. Next minute, flipping over into feeling in what it is. It's a container that's going to often, like, they'll use that to, pour into the crucible, like, almost like as a mold.
Hmm.
And often they are used in precious metals.
Yeah.
So when I'm out of balance, I feel like just a container of myself. I feel empty and disconnected and bored and something's missing. It's almost like I just experience the outer edges and I'm disconnected from my inner being who spends a lot of time in trust and faith. Mhm. So when you're meeting these outer layers, And it's almost like the inner part is asleep or gone off to do something. It's like it's just the human there trying to decipher what is going on, what it is, what it might be called, and how to dissolve it. The layers. Then I feel like soulless, gone, chill. So are you getting anything?
Yeah. Um, how to explain, but if things come up in the, like memories, visions, feelings, and they bring a lot of different feelings. And some of those things we actually are no longer engaging. We've noticed this. So really it goes back to what you've always said. So if something is still coming up, then obviously there's something for us to look at. But I keep from like a couple of days ago, I think I said it before, something about just choosing not to look at it anymore. Because if you choose not to look at it anymore and it comes up, you could say by itself, um, then you know. But there seems to be some type of, I don't want to say thin line, but we've been going back and forth, just like you're talking about, where there's, I guess you could say there's some things that we know to let go of, and there's new ones every day or something like that. And it brings those feelings of, I don't know what it is. What did you call it? Emptiness.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, some of it at times meaningless. Like, what's the point? It seemed to be going away, but I don't know. I go back to that series we watched, Manifest, the last episode last night, and it truly was that ending where they chose to fly into the light instead of the light coming at it as it had 11 years before. So maybe the light coming at us was the wake up, and now we've come full circle. And like they were in the plane, instead of, like I said, instead of it coming to them, they went to it.
It's helped me remember what we were doing last night and going over all these different metaphoric
Oh, yes.
layers and meanings of
Chess.
chess as well as manifest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the channeling was last night. It was going into detail. And then they told us about a frequency. I guess it would be like, I've just lost it. It's the, the royals had it and the church had it, and then they combined and let it merge and become greater. And it's ouch. It's like, ow. It's like, that was weird.
What is that?
And I've got something really huge happening here. Very specific places, my pelvic bone.
Mm.
I think they were speaking about when it flips and it's the polar opposite, then that's the experience of um, the other end, the victim end of being harvested.
Mm.
So this is a breaking down of the, oh my God, this makes so much sense. Harvesting at both spectrums. But there will no longer be programs like wanting something from another, harvesting each other, breaks down horizontally, and then the seemingly real vertical shadow of this, the hierarchy, collapses too.
And then part of the code last night was you said it makes you want to see another season to see what they do
Yeah,
once they're on the other side. And I said, well, that's the new coding. That's what we're doing. That's what we're stepping into now. We don't know what it is. And the reason we don't know what it is isn't because of something external. It's because of ourselves.
yeah, we haven't created it yet.
Right. We haven't been in a word, let's just say we're in a wider space every day where we're able to take in more. And in that, take into consideration what we are going to create.
Yeah, and I remember talking about the Trinity frequency, and the games that board games now are set in the duality, and imagine being using that frequency for new creation. That when kids played games, the concept of winner loser didn't even occur.
Hmm.
They worked out very quickly in the games how the true power is each person expanding constantly, growing, expanding, learning from that game what it's like to work within the Trinity frequency.
Yeah, like playing hide and seek when you're a kid with a bunch of kids.
Yeah, I like that.
Where one doesn't dominate, it's just revolving with who's it. And everybody gets to go hide.
Yeah, games where everyone realised that the more that you assisted and attempted to expand the other one, the quicker you aligned flow, with source.
Or so in professional basketball, you have like great players, whatever, in any category, any venue, you know, any category. But I could think of like things I've read over the years and different players that played, but there's particularly like three or four people. And I just realized what they'd always said about them because they had different degrees of natural ability is that these souls, these people, focused on making everyone else better. And that made them great in that, in that arena. So that's what I think of. It's like we've, like you said a minute ago, wanted or needed or encroached on someone's space and created, participated in that duality. What happens on the other side when you're constantly moving your energy in that Trinity energy, which equates to, I don't know if it's making them better or making it all better. Yeah.
And I was just feeling, that point is a significant point that was hurting.
Oh,
So they're just showing me that point as a significant uh, soul anchor point.
yeah, like the one you had in your foot.
Yes, oh my God, yes.
It's like I see like a light body, like your light body standing before you, or holographic or whatever. And there's these little black dots. There's not very many left, but they're very concentrated. I had it in my left foot about 2 or 3 days prior to your right foot, and a couple other places. And that's what I see that you're talking about. It's like there's still these little pockets.
God, you are so good. They were, the energy was stuck in those places.
Yes.
showed me how to find it. If a woman puts her thumb on the top point of her pelvic bone and her pointing finger stretches as far as it can, and then lift it up to a comfortable point, that is where that activation occurred. But then there's a ligament immediately about at the first knuckle in that's somehow connected.
Mm.
This before that the pelvis is the seat of the soul.
Yeah, I agree with that. It feels like it's part of this new thing coming in overall. We talked about vulnerability and power, uh, connectivity or the correlation or the relation. So to me, that's the most vulnerable part of my body. You're almost like this, but it's also the most powerful part. You call it the seat of the soul. You're into something deep.
Say that again.
I said you went quiet quick. You're into something deep. Are you?
Yes.
Hmm.
Can't remember what it was now. Something about, I think we were given all this a week ago, like the journey through the shadow to get to the light. Feels like there's going to be a shift in elemental human connection. No, I don't use crucible.
I just want to say the masculine and the feminine are getting closer and closer and closer. And you can really feel it. I'll leave it at that.
Why?
Why what?
Why will you leave it at that?
Well, it seems that, and I don't, it's obviously not sexual by, human terms, sacred, or it's something. It's again one of these things that are hard to describe, but that pelvic thing that you talked about, that area, like opened, it seems to be related. And it's not a physical erection or aroused yoni, or it's something huge. Like I feel like it's opened up and I can feel both the feminine and the masculine. And we're part of it. Or that. I can feel the magnetic. I can feel, at times the electric, and I can feel both, or we can feel both. It's ramping up. It's getting more and more powerful. It reminds me of when we had sessions through the years, and you would ask them, when are we going to do, you know, be more intimate, or when is that stuff over because we're all doing all this other work? And they would laugh, ha ha ha. It's like we're entering that territory.
Well, we know that.
I know, but I'm saying that the reality of it, I guess, like it's not going away like so many other things, but it seems to be tied to that pelvic area, that feeling of vulnerability and this weird power that just kind of comes out of nowhere. Obviously, we just ended. or no, we're still in the ninth month. We know it's the end of the masculine, or the masculine coming in. So, like we were talking about, when we went to the mall, we were talking about how would you, or what would it be like, or what do you do in terms of explaining to the man sacred sexuality, what it can be at a human level. And it's like when he can feel her, he can feel himself. Like that's the relationship. The relationship is that's why she is there. She's a reflection of him, a part of him that he couldn't see. So, in other words, if he can feel her, he can feel himself, and at the same time, he's feeling both. It's the only way I can explain it. But I would say, in terms of trying to explain to a man, it's not about what you think she wants, it's about how she feels. God. So because of patriarchal, the masculine energy, look what happened to the masculine, the pure masculine energy, sexual energy, sacred energy. Look at all the distortion and all the stuff that it caused. And think about taking that power out of judgment, self judgment, and turning it into the light, just like that plane last night at the end of the movie. If it could create that much distortion unconsciously, what can it contribute in partnership? What can it create? What's the potential? And all he's got to do is love her in all contexts because he's loving himself.
We go, we were invited to align with the light of Mexico.
Mm,
And the next day, we told something about the light is found by walking through the shadow.
right.
This is it, Todd.
Mm, yes. It's reminded that it seems no attachment. it seems we're headed to the interior of Mexico, to the largest lake, the womb. Like I could feel the magnetism, and I believe that's the feminine, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
It's like what's happening in my body and in my life with you is also happening with this place we're in. First here with a small pool with the golden disc put in it. I felt the draw toward that jungle. We're going to be sitting with three elementals, basically, animals. Um, and I felt the pull. And it the pull comes from that pelvic area. And it's you can feel the magnetism. You can feel the magnetic. It's profound, which makes this day and this eclipse tomorrow, which we have a perfect view, and the equinox, even, I mean, obviously more impactful. When you said that about the darkness, I landed here and it was a little bit, you're cautious, you're unfamiliar, and knowing that we're being asked to go more and more into the interior. And all I could think about was it's like the mother's heart. So you get into the mother's heart and you get comfortable when you stay in a place or whatever. And she asks you to come deeper and deeper into her heart. It all seems to be related. My body, us, this land, and beyond. What are you saying?
God. I can't actually remember. I saw, but I can't remember why I was showing these. They've been telling us that the way in and the way to align with that light of self is in full presence.
Mm.
They've been telling us this over and over. Full presence with self is like the portal in or the doorway in. Not that there's a door there, but it's like an entry via frequency match.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how do you do that? You start breaking down those walls because those walls are
Mm.
like old frequencies, old programs, the old, all of the old.
All voices.
Yeah. And so this period is flipping very fast because it's a lot of the deepest shadows to move through, which are addictions and distractions.
Becoming those little pinpoint, black, concentrated spot in the
Yeah.
body. And so they're getting louder, basically,
Mhm.
with easy grace. Sometimes it's a sharp pain or whatever, but not. It seems like it is happening with the body more than the emotional now, the mental. I've had a massive, I don't know the word, it's not expansion, transformation is the word in my body in this session, like permanent.
Is there any, can you elaborate on
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Well, I can only say that the body speaks, and that's why I've got inquire over time because I can't explain it. I can feel it, and I would say that um, definitely it's heart expansion where in a very physical way. How do you say it was like the heart was off to one side, the left side, and so the feminine was there, seeing through it all, and then there was less of the masculine, less of, uh, and so as it's moving over, that part's coming out, the masculine, the true masculine heart. But at the same time, in the middle of my chest, it just feels like it's exploded into what people call the higher heart, the thymus. But it's the entire inner chest, like between my sides, and it's extraordinary. And I can feel it moving into my uh, throat chakra, but it's in totally physical, more physical than energetic, and expressing it and moved it on through. How much is coming in, right?
Mhm.
I'll get to talking. Say something. Oh, God. Julie, do you feel like this? We talked about positive, electric, magnetic, different polarities you talked about. That there's this, let's just call it galactic intelligence that's merging with an earthly wisdom. And the earthly wisdom part was in that show too, manifest the human people, gaining integrity, doing the right thing, acting from love through the pain and the suffering. And the intel, you could say, is like the intuition, the feminine intuition. And they're coming together. Another um, part of the experience.
Yes.
Mm.
And they gave us a huge load of examples of how that's working a few days ago. Isn't it weird? We have these sessions.
Mm.
We're being told everything almost daily or nightly, and it doesn't stick until you hit this point and it's all explained, out in black and white for you. And I guess you can recognise it because you've embodied it through, yourself through the last few days. Every time something arrives, and then you get, for me, the side effect is I feel empty and disconnected.
Mm.
And then I hit a point of like, all right, I'm over this. And that must be the letting go moment. And then, the aha comes, whether it's, through dreams or conversation sessions or whatever way they come.
Mm.
And you start to understand what we are all doing. The collective is doing this. They're very alignment. It's like they're moving, or they get to move as blood rather than just being, one singular cell sitting there,
Mm.
trying to create by itself. These flows, that first one that came in that told us it was reference,
Mm.
that was um, like the wind blowing with all the codes in it. And now we have to navigate our way through this wind. It's like a storm, or it can be. Isn't it?
Huge.
I'm just here imagine living on the planet where your number one currency isn't associated with harvesting, credit, debit. I'll do this as long as you do that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Where you remembered that you just part of flow, and like breath, it just is. There wouldn't be this fight and force or begging or unworthiness or any of that. It doesn't exist anymore.
Mm. Or the mother's heart. Like that's what that is. So I go back to the Mexico thing, like the physical representation or the mother's, you're on the perimeter. And in the center of her heart is the purest place, most fair place, the most everything. And you're already in her heart. To get there, nothing's a given. It all takes the steps towards it. And on the steps towards it, these things that we're experiencing are presented and shed, looked at, dealt with, felt.
aligned with new choice points.
Right. That's the only way to step forward.
Is that where the crucible comes in? We're at crucible point. I mean, that word felt like it contained like a whole new frequency, like the potential of that was.
I think so. And I think there might be a connection to going to this place on the edge, just outside of the main town, and being at the edge of the jungle with three animal souls in preparation to go further towards the heart or the womb. But to your point, you cannot make a choice. There's never the same choice, but you cannot make an old choice and move forward. So hard to explain.
Well, it's almost like a void, like an emptiness and an awareness that just on the other side of, one of the walls I have around me or a bubble that I'm in, that I'm that close to getting there, to entering that frequency. It was like, then walking through the light last night,
Mm.
clueless as to what's on the other side. And it seemed, you didn't really see it, but for me, my first thought was, oh my goodness, they've just fully anchored and embodied their souls in purity. Imagine, the things they'll create for themselves without all that old pain stories and programs there.
And the distortion was burning right up to the last moment, or the old energy, or whatever you want to call it. And they were on the plane and everything was happening, all the hysteria, but they were on point. Crucible.
And you've just said that out loud, and I'm listening to the word manifest over and over and over. Well, manifest. What is that to me? Manifest. Manifest. And then you say crucible.
That's what that crucible, that last definition that you added, but there was more. Uh, it wasn't just transformation. It was something about all these elements coming together and kind of clashing or whatever, and getting real hot or whatever to create a new experience or a new something that was in that definition.
And we've been playing, and it's been getting stronger and stronger and stronger all the time in the last couple of months, very consciously with the merging of the magnetic electric operating as one. Seeing this incredible artist who's putting a lot of two different types of sacred geometry together and seeing how well they work together.
Cool.
There's I think a blood cell, within a body. But, it doesn't have to remember that it's not it may be singular, but it's as unified as it is singular.
Yes.
So this is letting us know really what humanity has done, that we're going to be seeing, feeling, experiencing what at some level in the coming days. A new level of unified consciousness. Our telepathy has been off the charts.
More and more.
Yeah. Awesome. So moving to this new frequency, it's going to become really obvious that this program of hierarchy was all just part of the old game.
Yeah.
That we truly will start seeing each other as pieces of God-esque.
Mm. Where are you getting?
Gosh, I think they're going to start explaining something really big about the 9th of November, 9th of November
Okay.
and 11th of November. There's something really huge, okay, for us.
I believe it. 9/11. You know what it is?
No, I'm just trying to be still and trying to be polite, and not force anything, but just see if that was going to continue. This feels silly, but okay, they're saying to me, you cannot stand still in flow. If you enter the flow, you must let go and allow yourself to flow.